AC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean. The pandemic era pause on federal student loan payments is set to end, and this time there will be no extensions. The Department of Education has confirmed a timeline for repayments to resume. Borrowers will have a few weeks to prepare, and for some, this means major shifts in their budget. For others, it means paying their loans for the very first time.
The Department of Education offering clarity for federal student loan borrowers. Student loan interest will resume on September 1st and payments will resume in October, definitively ending the pandemic pause that started in March 2020. For some, it will mean a major shift in budgeting.
A lot of them were using this for their everyday use to purchase medical expenses, to repay a car bill, get their car fixed, home improvements. It's a lot of things that have happened in this 3 years.
Jalen Herbin of the Center for Responsible Lending says borrowers should use the summer months to get their finances in order.
It is enough time for you to reach out to a servicer and ask the questions that you need to ask. How will this impact me? What are the changes that will take place from what previously took place? Or I am a new graduate. What do I need to know about my account? How can I make sure that I do not go into default?
The Department of Education says it will be in direct communication with borrowers before repayments are due. Borrowers are also waiting to see if the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness program can legally move forward. Two lawsuits accusing the Biden White House of overreach reached the Supreme Court. Their ruling is imminent. The Biden administration estimates more than 40 million low and middle income federal student loan borrowers would qualify for some debt cancellation. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
A Manhattan grand jury has voted to indict the former Marine who held a man in a deadly chokehold on the subway. Daniel Penny was indicted on second-degree manslaughter charges. He surrendered to the police last month and has been out on bond since then. Penny held down Jordan Neely, a homeless man, after Neely started shouting at passengers that he was hungry and he didn't care if he died. A witness said that Neely was acting erratically before the incident, but had not attacked anyone. Penny held down Neely in a chokehold until he stopped breathing. The Southern Baptist Convention is expelling 2 churches because they have female pastors. That's the outcome of a vote at a meeting in New Orleans this week. The churches are Fern Creek Baptist in Louisville, Kentucky, and Saddleback Church in Lake Forest, California. According to the SBC, having women as pastors goes against the denomination's interpretation of the Bible. It's also kicking out Freedom Church in Florida for allegedly failing to resolve an abuse accusation.
On one hand, it feels like being kicked out of the family. And perhaps even like a divorce, as one of my friends said. But on the other hand, there's something liberating and freeing. Being no more bound no more to the traditions and opinions and the power of those in leadership in the Southern Baptist Convention.
It's June, so that means flu season is probably the furthest thing from your mind, right? Well, data from the Southern Hemisphere, where it's actually winter right now, shows that cases are beginning to increase early this year. And it could mean that in the U.S., another severe season is ahead. The Advocate Channel has a look at the data and what health experts say that you should take away from it.
In the U.S., flu cases can happen year-round, but most of the time the virus peaks between December and February. So why are we talking about it in June?
We always have flu on our radar.
Flu activity in the U.S. is currently low, but in the Southern Hemisphere, officials in Australia say cases began increasing sharply in early May. That's an earlier start of the flu season than some years, with case numbers higher than the 5-year average, but lower than around this time in 2019 and 2022. The number of cases in kids is also being watched. More children in Australia appear to be getting sick than any other age groups this year. U.S. scientists typically look at Australia and other countries to try to anticipate exactly how bad the flu will get in the U.S. during its fall and winter.
We can probably expect the same thing to be happening with an early flu season.
Infectious disease specialist Ryan Miller with Cleveland Clinic says when flu season starts this year, we can all help slow the spread.
we still want people to stay home when they're sick. And if they are feeling sick and they have to go do something, wear a mask so that you protect the people around you.
Miller says it's also important to get vaccinated from the flu when the season gets closer.
Really want the high risk individuals to get the vaccine to protect themselves, but then the lower risk individuals who are seemingly healthy should get it so that they can protect their loved ones.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A new report finds youth and young adults are dying from suicide and homicide at the highest rates in decades. The CDC is behind this report, and the analysis found that in 2021, suicide and homicide were the second and third leading causes of death for children and young adults ages 10 to 24 in the U.S. The homicide rate for this age group was also the highest since 1997, while the suicide rate was the highest on record since 1968. Earlier research saw a steady increase in the number of children visiting emergency rooms for suicidal thoughts, and that was before the pandemic. During the first year of the pandemic, a large spike in homicide rates brought the rates for both suicide and homicide together for the first time in a decade. It looks like many top business leaders are seriously concerned that AI could pose a threat to humanity in the not too distant future. 119 CEOs were surveyed at the Yale CEO Summit this week. They included the heads of companies like Walmart, Coca-Cola, Zoom, media and manufacturing companies. 34% believe that AI has the potential to destroy humanity in 10 years. 8% say that could happen in 5 years, and 58% say that could never happen and that they are not worried. In another question, 42% of the CEOs said that the potential catastrophe of AI is overstated. The findings come just weeks after dozens of AI industry leaders, academics, and some celebrities signed a statement warning of an extinction risk from AI. In a major blow to Google, EU regulators are threatening to penalize the company over its online advertising practices, and Stewart explains.
The EU is telling Google it should break up its online advertising business, saying it's bad for competition. Brussels has filed antitrust charges against the search giant, accusing it of abusing its dominance in the market of buying and selling online adverts. These claims center around ADX, which is Google's online auction house. It matches advertisers with publishers, and the EU believes that Google has unfairly pushed customers to use ADX rather than rival ad exchanges. This is just the latest blow for Google. In January, the US Justice Department filed a lawsuit and also called for a breakup of the company. Here at Vivatech in Paris, you'll see all the big tech giants, including Google, and it's where I caught up with Bruno Le Maire, France's finance minister. He says he supports the EU's findings.
I think that we are just sticking to the rules, and the Commission has the role to be sure that every private company is abiding by the rules. So I fully support the work that is currently done by the Commission. Innovation does not mean that you should get rid of any rule.
The EU Commission has submitted its findings in writing to Google, according to officials, and that kickstarts a legal process which could end in billions of dollars of fines and a breakup of the company. Google says it doesn't agree with the EU's findings and they will respond accordingly. Anna Stewart, CNN at Vivatech in Paris.
Well, Google has announced a new virtual try-on feature that uses AI. The tech company says that it can show clothes on a diverse selection of bodies in various poses. It says that the feature will help users find similar clothing pieces in different colors, patterns, or styles from merchants across the web. And thank you so much for joining us for AC 24/7. For more, go to theadvocatechannel.com and subscribe on the Advocate Channel YouTube page. For AC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean.